If you're like me, you've probably dabbled in meditation before. Maybe even more than once, but always let it slide after a few days or weeks. And yet everywhere you look, people, blogs and even studies promise it leads to calmer minds, sharper focus and better health. Which raises the question, is meditation just difficult to sustain and slow to reveal results? Or is it simply, just maybe, an empty promise? Well, there's only one way to find out. A final attempt at meditation to clear all doubts. So 6 months of meditation, because I'm pretty sure that's the extent of my patience, tracking all my practice and measuring potential effects. Well, the 6 months are over and I got the results of the test back. I definitely have different results than I had anticipated. But to properly set up this experiment, we need to take a look at the literature to understand exactly how to meditate and which outcomes to expect and to measure. Plenty of blogs and popular articles provide decent summaries, and some even link directly to the original studies. In the more esoteric literature, the definition of meditation can get so broad that it loses all meaning. Drinking tea mindfully, walking slowly, even just paying attention in daily life counts as meditation. But since that's nearly impossible to measure, research usually narrows it down to one simple practice: mindfulness meditation, where you sit quietly, focus on your breath, and can easily track the time spent doing it. And this mindfulness meditation is then tested against a handful of alleged effects: emotional awareness, higher resilience, stress reduction, better memory, better focus, better sleep, or even therapeutic ones, where it can allegedly help with Alzheimer's or diabetes. But most of the research comes with serious limitations. Many studies use small sample sizes or short time frames, so the results are less transferable to real-life situations. And even when the results are positive, they're often not robust. That's why so much of the literature is wrapped in hedging language. Some studies also rely on methods I can replicate, like blood tests or brain scans. I also don't have a diagnosed condition that could be used as a baseline for improvement. But based on the literature, my hypothesis is simple. 6 months of consistent meditation will lead to measurable improvement in at least one of the alleged benefits. But with all these limitations, what benefits are even left to test and track? As input variables, I have minutes I spent meditating. This was sitting or walking meditation, or even guided classes. On the other side, we have the dependent variables. With my smartwatch, I track two things: how many minutes of deep sleep I got per night, and my heart rate-based stress levels. 0 meaning complete calm, and 100 I am literally being attacked by a tiger right now. Then I also tracked how many minutes per day I spend on social media as a proxy for self-control, and also did a general vibe check out of 10 for my health levels. 10, it's the best day ever and I feel awesome, and 0, I'm in the hospital and about to die. I also use an app called Total Brain, which runs emotional and cognitive tests through questionnaires and minigames. Think Simon Says, but with numbers. For emotional awareness, memory, focus, and resilience. As a result of those tests, I got my position as a percentile of the population, a good baseline to compare to. And that's all the metrics. And the hypothesis is simple. If meditation numbers go up, so do the others. Or down in the case of social media. So let's see how it all went down. Altogether, I meditated for 4,010 minutes, or 67 hours, and an average of 22 minutes per day. And I started with the meditation practice from the Headspace Guide to Meditation. His approach is to sit down every day for 10 minutes and just focus on your breath. And when thoughts come up, don't fight them. Just notice them and let them go. And that's how I meditated for the first few weeks of this experiment. Sometimes I felt like I was getting into a meditative state, but most of the time I felt nothing or just boredom. But to expand my knowledge, I continued my journey with a bunch of 1-hour guided classes and even a full-day silent retreat. With the structure, guidance, and time commitment, it was a lot easier to get into a meditative state pretty much every time. But at the full-day silent retreat, my knees and back started to hurt after 3 hours, and meditating after that was just awful and I could not concentrate on anything. After a few weeks, I read The Art and Skill of Buddhist Meditation. This book had more advanced tools for meditation, but still along the same line. Counting breath, whole body meditation, easing into the state instead of forcing it, which really helped me relax faster even if I wasn't in the mood for meditation. So clearly some improvement on my practice here. But it had some vague esoteric lines about the ultimate goal of meditation, is awakening and liberation through non-clinging, which sort of makes sense, but it clashes with my goal-oriented approach. But then the next book, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, pretty much confirmed my suspicion. Our practice should be without gaining ideas, without any expectations, even of enlightenment. And that makes sense too, because in Zen the point is not to chase results, but to live a Zen life, with meditation as a practice that gets you there. And honestly, this letting go felt great. It felt like it had a positive effect. An effect I wasn't trying to measure and one I still can't really put into words. But after 6 months of meditation, what effects did I actually measure? As the input variable, we have daily meditation minutes. I started strong, tried a few approaches, the one-day retreat, the guided meditation, but then I settled into a daily routine, a clear pattern to compare our other variables to. So deep sleep. No clear correlation, just a strange peak at the end, maybe a small long-term increase. Health, again, no correlation, though you can clearly see the week I was sick. Stress, no correlation, no long-term improvement either. Social media, also no correlation, but wow, I wasted over 3 hours a day on YouTube, Reddit and Instagram, but also no long-term change. Now total brain. I measured 3 times, once at the beginning, then once after one-day retreat and once at the end. Emotional awareness, barely any movement. Memory, actually a slight improvement. Focus, again, barely any movement. But resilience actually got a lot better over time. But I'm not sure if this is due to meditation or some other outside factors, because this is self-reported from a questionnaire and a snapshot. But it's something nonetheless. So in summary, there's not really a lot of measurable improvement, and in most areas it actually got worse. My experiment made me realize why the science on meditation is so unsatisfying, while meditation still persists. The original question was, what benefits does meditation even have? And a lot of people report feeling calmer, more aware, and just happier after meditation. But those effects are really hard to measure. They depend on self-reports, shift depending on your mood, and are influenced by a bunch of outside factors. Just look at the total brain metrics. Anything can influence my performance during these mini-games. Also, these mini-games are probably not the best measurement of cognition, but that's all I had. So scientists, like me in this experiment, focus on metrics that are easy to track, somewhere in the area of health, well-being and cognition, which still have major limitations. If you ask what's the best way to improve health, well-being and cognition, meditation would not be your first answer. Better sleep, exercise, cutting down on screen time, and yoga all deliver clearer and more consistent results. That leaves us with a paradox. A lot of people swear by meditation, while the evidence is thin. The subjective benefits can't really be proven or disproven, while the measurable effects, well, there's just better options than meditation to achieve those. It's a perfect setup for a grift or esoteric bullshit. So what should you do moving forward? So is meditation just hard to do and sustain, or is it an empty promise? Well, it's complicated. Looking back, meditation did something. Not in a measurable way, but it felt nice. It might have just been placebo, but there was definitely something there. It wasn't life-changing in any way, but it's still something. Honestly, it might just be that I sat down for 15 minutes and finally relaxed. Someone really needs to do a brain scan comparison between someone meditating for 15 minutes and someone just chilling on their couch. I also kept my tests very limited. I had those mini games for my cognition, and at first I actually devised this huge scientific questionnaire to test my emotional well-being, but I felt that was just too much for the self-experiment. I just didn't need that level of scientific rigor. But for me, the results were conclusive enough to know that I will not be meditating at home whatsoever. But here's what I'm gonna do instead from now on. Morning walks without my phone. I get to start the day with fresh air, light movement, and no stress whatsoever. Cutting down social media, because 3 hours a day is way too much. No matter how educational I tell myself it is. More yoga. It sneaks in breathing and mindfulness, and it does wonders for my back. I'm also going to continue to work out because it's fun and healthy. And maybe, occasionally, if I feel like it, I might take a guided meditation class. So would I recommend meditation? Not really. For most people, these steps are an easier start, and more than enough.